9:32. We're going to open the hearing on the conditional use permit filed by Stratford Building Supply for the purpose of building storage rental units on property located in the town of Eisenstein, Saunders Avenue.
Letters of notification were sent to Alan and Sarah Krauser, Arthur and Creta Wollenben, care of Ronald and Marie Hefferly, Elmer Foley, Karen Bagirl, Mary Jane Merkley Zimmerman, Patrick Veriberg and Shannon Pappenfuss, Ryan and Alyssa McGee, William Foley, Stratford Building Supply, Alicia Pritzel and Michael Marth, Charles Warko, Jeanette Meisbauer, Linda Foley, Michael Herbst, Quantum LLC, Susan Herbst, William Herbst, Andrew and Vanessa Smith, Darren Ides and Jack Ides, Jeffrey Herbst, Mark and Markalena Fight, Pamela Schmidt, Russ County Farm Supply, Timothy Dragovich, WTB Properties LLC, and Elizabeth Palachek with the town of Eisenstein.
We received one letter back stating, my main concern is that they don't dam up the swamp. Are they going to put culverts in to let the swamp drain like it has forever? And that it is a residential neighborhood, tight turn off of Saunders Ave, and this is an exceptionally dry season. And then they sent a picture of where there's culverts or where they proposed culverts. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's it?
That's
All
it.
right, is there anyone else that wishes
Oh,
to make
that
it?
was from Mark Fight.
Okay, is there anyone else in the room or online that wish to speak to this petition? Now would be the time. Okay, hearing none, I'll declare the hearing closed. The time is 9:34. We'll move to agenda item number 9, which is the decision on the conditional use permit filed by Stratford Building Supply.
Is there nothing on this piece of property right now? Or are
Well,
there
it's totally vacant.
only vacant? Wow, that's a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
It seems to me that somebody brought up that there's water issues.
If you look at the plot plan, they've got the swamp shown on there. There's some mapped wetland
Wetland,
as
yeah.
well.
So there's no violation of wetland?
That's regulated by the DNR, and that's something that they'd have to check as they build, but the area they're showing construction on is outside of the mapped wetland.
Any questions from the committee?
No.
Looking for a motion to approve.
Make a motion to
Motion
approve.
by Doug Erickson.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Bob Kopish to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? I heard Michelle. Jason, are you there yet? Jason disappeared. Okay, agenda item number 10. Time is 9:36. Conditional use permit filed by Frank Annetsberg for the purpose of operating a bar restaurant on property located in the town of Eisenstein. Fire number N15764 Sugar Bush Road. Hearing is now open. Anybody wish? No. Did we hear any comments?
Letters of, I'll just read who it was sent to. Frank and Lynn Druick, Stephen and Loretta Tuzka, James and Gail Mayer, Frank Annetsberger, Robert Koch, and Elizabeth Palachek with the town of Eisenstein.
We received no written comments back.
No written comments? Okay. Is there anybody wish to speak?
Yes.
Sure. State your name, where you're from.
My name is Robert Keck. N15761 Sugar Bush Road. I live directly across the street from the bar. And I was just hoping to get some kind of insurance that, the quality of my life isn't gonna be compromised. Recently, the last people who occupied the bar moved out and they made my life a hellhole with all the noise, all the garbage, beer cans and stuff thrown on my lawn. Racing around, loud four-wheelers, just racing around all over, which just havoc. And, all my other neighbors feel the same way, you know. I was just wondering, I can't live like that. I called the police so many times and that every time I would leave my house, if they were having a cigarette out in the parking lot, whoever left my house or came got the finger. I got beer bottles and cans put in my mailbox. I've seen people getting out of their vehicles, coming across the street, urinating on my trees. Someone went in my garage, went through my car, rifled through my glove box and my center console and that. And I'm afraid at night when they're open, if I have to go to my garage or come back, I make sure I'm armed all the time. Because when I call Price County Police, sometimes it takes them 3 weeks to get out there. And that's all I got to say.
Did you get any relief from the sheriff's department? Did they?
No, the sheriff advised me that I should get cameras and put them up.
Did what?
That I should get security cameras and put them up. And he said the way that the guy, he's not there now anymore, but he said the way he was talking, he said I felt that they're going to retaliate against you for calling the police. But those people are gone, except for the fact that the new people who are moving in now, I see, since they're in the bar working and they're getting deliveries, a lot of the cars are the same people. So if it's gonna be the same crowd, but just a different name on the lease or whatever, it's not gonna fix nothing.
Any questions for Bob?
Yes, sir. This is the old Sugar Bush Bar, right
Yes.
down from
Yep,
182, just south of there?
182, you come north,
Yeah,
just a quarter mile, yep.
okay.
It's, so just to explain, it is the Sugar Bush Bar
Okay.
that's been the Sugar Bush Bar for a long time. The reason this came up is it was closed for quite a while.
It was closed for 6 years.
Yeah, so anytime a property has, and it never did have a conditional use permit and it's zoned, I believe, RR1. Anytime a non-conforming use is discontinued for over 12 months, it needs to come into conformance of the ordinance. And that's why it's coming forward with a conditional use permit to open as a bar restaurant within that zoning district.
So with what you just said, is this going to change the way the place was operated prior because of changes in the ordinance or stuff like that? I mean, is it going to be a different scenario for these people to operate than what they may be accustomed to?
No.
Okay, so it's,
Let's
yeah,
before we,
yeah, I should.
let's talk to,
I
any
mean,
other questions for Robert?
Sometimes they make so much noise, I can't even watch TV. My front door to the front door of the bar is 172 feet. It's not that much longer than the length of this room. And then, I can hear their jukebox going in there. I mean, it ain't like the little jukeboxes they used to have. The speakers are bigger than your screens up there. And then, with all the ATVs and stuff outside racing their engines up and, ATVs go past my house all the time because the trail goes by there.
Okay,
And I don't even hear a lot of them, but these ones with the racing mufflers and stuff on there, which I think they're illegal anyway, because they don't have flash arresters on them, but they're just loud as hell. And they race down to the bridge, turn around, come back and race back.
we get the message.
Yeah,
Thank you,
okay.
Robert.
All right, thank you.
All right. So the time is, any other people want to speak to this petition? In the room or online? Star 6.
Let me double check I have it so they can unmute since we had the Okay, it should be fine. Yep.
Okay, so the time is 9:42. I'll declare the hearing closed. And we'll move on to agenda item number 11, which is the decision on the conditional use permit filed by Frank Antisberger. So there is a petition that we would entertain a motion to approve, and then we can discuss. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second
Motion-
it to get
Motion by Doug,
it
seconded
on the floor to
by
discuss.
Bob.
Yeah.
Now we can open it up for discussion.
Back to my question, it doesn't change the way the operation, the restaurant is being operated by changes in ordinances and stuff over time. It's just going to be permitted now, like it should be.
So back in, 7 years ago, it was open as a bar restaurant.
Yeah.
They never had a conditional use permit on file. I'm not sure on the history of the Sugar Bush Bar, how long it was in operation.
Well, it was
Now
an
6 years.
operation since I've been living here, which
Right.
is a while, and then it was shut down.
Right.
And then it came back to life.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a disgruntled neighbor that's disturbed about about past experience and potential. Can we make any recommendations for restrictions on this property, fences, sound barriers?
I think most of his issues are with the sheriff's department and not this committee. I mean, we can't control
Well, you could put up a fence.
noise, ATVs. I mean, that's the sheriff's department issue.
Sure. Yeah, most of the threats, the noise, the
Later.
breaking and entering, those are sheriff's department issues.
Well, just a comment. I have that resort down from my house on the lake, and there's been a lot of owners in there, and some are more respectful of the neighborhood than others. And there was one in there in particular that it would get very noisy, and they'd be out on the decks and stuff, and go after 10 o'clock. Well, we have a 10 o'clock noise ordinance. So I called, and the sheriff's department would call them and remind them of the issue, and it would settle down. Now, I don't, there are ways to go at it. You don't have the police have to be at the doorstep all the time. But I would hope we would get response out of our sheriff's department. But, they're not sitting around waiting for somebody to call. They're usually pretty well gainfully employed, so it's a difficult issue. But if what's going on is what he's saying going on, I can imagine the noise with these ATVs. And he's right, there are some of them that are really loud,
And there's a lot more of them.
and there's a lot
today.
more of them. Matter of fact, ATV is out of style. It's all UTVs, and they cost $30,000-$40,000. It's just unbelievable. But
Okay, so there's nothing coming forward as far as further restrictions on the property. We do have a motion to approve. We'll vote on the issue. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I don't think we have any way to not refuse it.
No. Well, I don't know much about the property, if there's any opportunity for any further restrictions.
It's not set up in a way that a fence would be
That's-
feasible. or
it's not
even
feasible.
possible, No.
Yeah, okay.
Not-
Well, we'll move on. All right, we're to agenda item number 11, land division filed by Tim Breland on behalf of Brian Ellis to create one lot town of Prentice.
This was included in the packet that went out to you, creating a 2-acre lot. It meets all the requirements. It's got plenty of frontage on County Road A. It's non-shoreland, so it is not required to be done via CSM. So really just be looking for a motion to approve that land division.
And map's been done, the certified map.
There's a certified plat of survey. They don't have to do a certified survey map because it's non-shoreline, but there's a certified plat of survey that the surveyor had done. That they'll just need to record at the Register of Deeds once land division is approved.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Motion by Doug
I'll
Erickson
second.
to approve, seconded by Michelle Drobnik. Any further discussion? We'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Agenda item number 13, land division filed by Albert Simpson on behalf of Adam Carlson to create one lot town of Spirit.
That was also included in your packets. That one they did do via CSM. And we already heard back from the Department of Administration that they reviewed and approved that CSM. So, it's went through the state as well and been approved. So that one, we just needed a motion to approve. It's a new lot, 1.84 acres. And it was done, like I said, via CSM, because it was technically considered shoreline because there's a small creek that is within 300 feet of the parcel.
Make the motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Bob Kopish,
Second.
seconded by Michelle Drobnik. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? You're in favor. All right. Got it. All right, department reports.
There was a copy of the 2024 permit report in your packet. Aside from that, I don't have any real comments on anything going on. Still finishing up construction season, septic install season. Been fairly busy the past few weeks.
It looks like it was gonna be a little short from last year.
I was just looking at that.
Permit numbers are down from last year. The majority of that,
300 to go over the last 3 months, and they're not big enough.
yeah, I would say the majority of that accounts for land use permits. Land use permits seem to be down from last year.
I noted on the population information that was sent out by Gene that our population has diminished by 200 people.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think there seems to be less sheds being built is what I would say accounts.
Let's
Yeah.
Caught up finally?
I mean, it looks like, if you look at, there's almost 100 land use permits down from last year. Septics are still trickling in. We'll probably be down 20, 30 septics from last year. If you look at the finance reports, the fees are still fairly, county revenue is fairly high yet. Somebody
So
comment?
we still fall under the category of a low population density in Price County. We got a lot of room left.
Depends who you ask.
True.
Can you count Jason's on? No? Okay. He's not? Then we should record him being away from the meeting,
Right.
probably at 9:30. You got it? Okay.
All right, that ends your report. We'll adjourn that portion of the zoning meeting and we'll move right into land conservation. Roll call would be the same. Although Jason is apparently gone, is not here. Everybody else is. All right, is there any public comment on land conservation that anybody wishes to speak in the room or online? Public comment? Any communications from members of the committee? Hearing none, we'll move right into the U.S. Department of Agriculture Wildlife Damage Program.
Hello, you can hear me, right? All right, I'm Luke Irish, Wildlife Services. I think most of you probably remember me.
We do.
Before I get into this, I got Austin Dodge with me. He is going to be taking over the Wildlife Damage Program in Price County starting November 1st.
What was his name?
Austin Dodge. I will not be with the federal government anymore, so he will be taking that role. You'll be seeing him in the future.
Well, thank you for past service.
It's been good. It's been good working with everyone, so. All right, I'll move right into 2024 crop prices. You should have that in your packet there. Everything is fairly straightforward. A few more things on here than last year. A couple miscellaneous items, straw and high moisture wrapped round bales. These prices are what we pull together, looking at averages and what guys are getting on their crops, and we just need the committee to approve these so that those who are getting claims can get paid based on these dollar amounts. So if there's any questions or things to discuss on that.
I got hay for sale at that price. You can't give hay away right now.
Have these changed much from last year?
Alfalfa and clover are both down. Everything's really down.
Really?
So alfalfa, clover, the corn and the beans are what was on there last year.
Looks like corn is less than the cost of production.
Yeah, and I will say that this is kind of an average, and it's from what the reports I'm hearing, spot price right now is even lower than what I'm proposing here. So
So if it's crop damaged, there was no harvesting involved. So those costs aren't included.
yeah, there usually is harvesting to some degree because it's not usually a complete loss. But yeah, it's farmers are taking a hit this year.
Is there a lot of damage from bear on corn? That's increasing?
It's increased some compared to last year, but overall, looking at the past decade, it's actually down. Everybody's got a different idea behind that. I mean, last year we saw the lowest amount of bear damage that pretty much any of us have seen in the agency. This year it's up from that, but it's still quite low comparatively speaking to years past. Some people don't think there's as many bears on the landscape. Others think that it's just a lot of natural food on the landscape. Last year we had a lot of acorns. This year we had a lot of blackberries, which tend to keep the bears in the woods more. So there's a lot of different things. It's wildlife. I mean, there's a lot of different things that affect.
I know the
that,
blackberries are really out, and I'm a picker, and
Mhm.
I was competing with a bear.
Yeah.
He won. Or she.
Alan, do you want to have them do a quick for the new members on the committee of how they come up with like the prices?
Sure.
Because we just get a
Good
list
question.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So you want me to speak to that? Is that what I heard? Basically, we just contact local grain outlets or any, these co-ops, or look online, USDA, you'll see down there crop price sources on that sheet. NASS, USDA, Cornell. I mean, those are some of the big ones that we can just look at averages for localities and see what farmers are getting. And, like I said, the prices that are on here tend to be average prices, and, the market fluctuates. Right now, things are dropping. So if you look at spot price now, it's probably going to be lower than what these numbers I have on here. So we do that for the normal crops, corn and beans, oats. You'll see like the round bales there, that's $70 a bale. We are using an individual price for that the farmer who is getting a claim on that is getting for those bales. If we have a farmer with one crop, he's the only guy in the county that's got that crop that's enrolled with us. We tend to use his price because he's the only guy. Now, if we have multiple farmers, we got to pick a number somewhere. So we use an average at that point. So
you're looking for an approval,
the committee will need to approve this. Yeah.
and that's
Yep.
on, it's in your packet. You see it? Doug, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is the only level that it needs to be approved by, this.
Correct. You approve it, and I believe the chair of the committee signs. along
Yep.
with
I'm
you.
hoping we can get stuff signed right away.
Yep.
We'll get going.
All
Yeah.
right, do I hear a motion to approve?
Sure, I'll motion to approve the prices. as presented.
Motion by Kopish, seconded by
I'll second it.
Doug Erickson to approve. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Michelle, did you hear that?
Yeah, I was trying to click on mute and then you went to oppose, so I didn't want to talk.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and then we need to move on to the budget yet, so 18B there on the agenda. So this is the 2025 budget, so this time of year we need to get the budget approved for the next year. You should have that in your packet there. Nothing really out of the ordinary, you know, the cost of living increases and some mileage increases, so I think based on basically an $80,000 budget, it's went up a little over $4,400. So,
And I guess the question,
mhm.
I don't know, to who, Evan or to Nick, this is funded by the DNR, this is not a county
Right.
expense.
Right, so all these are channeled through the DNR. So this budget will go into the DNR's, it's basically the WAMS program, that this budget will get submitted. And then at the end of the year, I submit a reimbursement to reimburse the county for all these expenditures.
And you need a motion to approve this?
Yes. and you-
I will make that motion.
Motion by Doug Erickson,
I'll second.
seconded by Michelle Drobnik. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a question. There's two sides.
Yes.
Are we,
They're the same budget. One is the breakdown that the feds need, and one is the breakdown that the DNR needs.
Okay.
It's kind of they're it's the
okay,
same
it's the
money.
It's the same numbers, just presented
numbers.
differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. thank
Correct.
you.
Did we get a second?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll sign it.
Can I still file for bear damage right now? I got a bear. Huh? That happened to me last night. Yeah, so now the bear is in my corner. I hadn't been in until now. Hopefully. 100 feet. Close. The deer are eating my outside rows that I chop or get for the cows. Yeah. So every day, chew that outside row. I chopped around the field, it's a little field. I'm good, the bear was sitting there watching me when I got done.
Sorry for the delay. We're doing some signing here.
That's all right. Take your time.
Oh, the back too. Yeah. There you go. Good luck to you. See, do we have any department reports from land conservation?
I don't have a whole lot to report on. We did get our preliminary allocation from DATCAP on our funding for 2025. looks like we're gonna have $45,000 in cost share, roughly 45, a little more, and cost share available, and our staff and support will be a little over 116.
16,
116.
116.
So, which is a little bit higher than it was last year. So
That's by
good.
formula, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and that got increased the last biennial budget. That I want to say the whole budget went up like 20%, but obviously ours doesn't get just an automatic
Right.
20. It's
And the
like
more
you said,
people that are,
It's
the
a
more
formula.
people in the higher salary they are in other counties, they get a higher percentage of it. But ours, I think ours last year was like 109, if
Yeah,
I'm not
so-
mistaken, somewhere like that, something like that. So that was good.
Any questions for Evan?
And the formula there is 100% at the first position, 70% at the second position, and 50% at the third position. So our county, the first position is technically the technician position because
Jason?
he's the only one that's 100% land conservation. Whereas the way the formula works out, you know, like my position is 70% of 60% is the way that it's budgeted. But
All right, we'll adjourn this portion of the meeting, land conservation, and move into agenda item number 21, which is minutes from the August 29, 2024 meeting.
I'll move to approve.
Bob Kopish makes a motion to approve, seconded by
I'll second it.
Doug Erickson.
Michelle beat me.
Either way. All right, well, Doug Erickson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed? Minutes are approved. The vouchers have gone around to the people that are in the room. Do we have a
make a motion to approve.
motion by Doug, seconded by Bob? Any questions on the vouchers? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next meeting date is November 21.
and I
Beyond
think
that,
we had looked at not having the December meeting, if I recall, from previous meetings. So,
it's your call. You get the customers.
well, it depends. Is Art okay with that?
Should be fine.
Not having a December meeting, so we'd be looking at January.
Art doesn't matter to you.
Art's retiring. So, can we
Skip the December.
choose a date for January?
Yeah, we're to fit would be 123, I believe. I just looked.
Correct.
January 23rd?
2025. So that's
Evan, do you want to also schedule February's?
Already?
we certainly could, I guess, but
I mean, that's too, well, I know where,
no, 2 would be November
November,
21st and
okay.
January 20. We can set the
Nick, or what?
we'll set the February one.
I don't care when you got to do it.
in November
Okay, so
That's okay.
January, what's the date?
23rd.
January
as
23rd.
long as that works, that'd be the one that fits our scheduling.
You got to get those prime days, Doug. That's why you got to get it out ahead.
All right, and we'll set the next meeting date no, the one in November will set February, but that's yet to be determined. The February date. All right. Thank you. All right, UW Extension. Order. Roll call, everybody is present. Public comment. Is there anyone in the room that wish to make a comment on UW Extension? Now would be the time to do that. Anybody online? Any communications from the committee members? Okay, if not, agenda item number 26 is the Extension Educator Highlight Reports.
Well, good morning, everyone. You have the highlight report in your packet, and we have our educators here as well as our FoodWise administrators. So if I may, I would ask Julie to come up and supplement the written report with some comments.
Hi, Rachel. Good morning. It seems like it's been a little while since I've been here, but a lot's gone on because summer is a busy time in 4-H. Finished up with and I think you've got a report that actually shows a bunch of the different events. There were over 49 different events events/activities with 4-H over the summer. That works out to about one every other day. So a lot of different things going on. The Spirit Fair, it's just always a great time. Seeing the kids get out there. It's specifically a 4-H fair. We had a good number of kids that participated in that. It was a beautiful day. Most of the day, there was a part when it started raining just a little bit, but not too bad. So that was a great deal. Price County Fair had a good participation there. The auction went well. Dining hall made quite a bit of money. The silent auction went well. Probably one of the highlights for me is watching the kids interact with the judges throughout the fair. And I think because that's the educational component, that's the time when they get to hear the judge saying this, asking them questions and saying, this is what I learned. This is what I did. And judges are constantly going, okay, this is what I'd like to see, and giving them that additional instruction there. So that's probably one of my highlights. Well, maybe the highlight of the fair, but lots of good things that went on there. So much appreciated. Our partnership with the Price County Fair, the Baratka family was good to work with as well. You look on the back, you see AmeriCorps. We did not find an AmeriCorps member for this school year, so now we are bumped back to looking for one from January through August. If you have any ideas of people, and the criteria is they need to have a high school diploma or GED, they need to be over 18 years of age. It would be ideal for somebody who's sitting out a spring semester of college and just isn't quite sure what they're going to do yet, but wants to make some money. The wage, so they don't really have wages. They have what's called a living stipend, but it's about $10,000 for the 9 months. It's about 900 hours. And then they also get about a $3,500 educational credit, which goes toward higher institution learning. So that could be a good situation. It could also be good for somebody just wanting to get back into the workforce, but not going full time, somebody with kids that are just getting into school, or even a retired person that wants to be doing something in service, but isn't necessarily wanting to be full time. The educational credit can be passed, it doesn't have to be used by that individual. It can be passed on to a child or grandchild. So if you have any ideas on that, please send them my way or give me their names. We would really like to do that. That would increase our capacity for building up our 4-H program throughout this coming year. We're at the point where we just wrapped up. So it seems like the fair is kind of the wrap up in August, but really September is our last month of the 4-H year. Getting annual reports, annual financial reports done. Here in October, clubs are starting to meet again. They're enrolling in 4-H. they're electing their officers, they're filling out charters. A few of the things I'm just going to mention that are not in here, just so you have a handful of ideas of what people have done. The Flambeau Four Leafers were active throughout the summer with their community garden and going and gathering that, helping water and weeding and gathering that produce and then taking it and delivering it to the food pantry. So that was one of their service projects. Restless Rascals just recently used a mini donut machine that the adult leaders had purchased for a fundraiser. They made about $500 at the fall festival, looking at being able to use that as a fundraiser for youth that are wanting to go on other travel experiences as well. Hillbillies are always involved in the Christmas tree festival, and they were involved in the parade and a number of different activities in the Ogama area for that. So those are some of the things there. Right now, we've got Becky Denzine does a great job doing some project Saturdays. We have one coming up this Saturday that they're going to be making gnomes and wreaths. And so a number of youth are signed up for that. Just earlier this week, I was up at Park Falls at the elementary school using our 3 doodler pins. Previously, I had done the Lego robotics up there. So lots of things going on there. Any questions? Bob?
Yeah, back on that AmeriCorps, I was trying to take notes while you were talking. What you said, the person has to be 18
That's correct.
and with the GED?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then it's $10,000
Yes,
and it's January through August?
that's correct.
Okay. And then there's a $3,500 education credit that
That
can
is
get passed
correct.
on
Yes,
to a child or a grandchild.
that is
So I-
correct.
So I got that all right. Okay. thank
Yes.
you. Yep.
Yes. And we would love to be able to fill that position because that would really help out.
Julie, it's been a while since I've been out to the Spirit Fair, but I remember really enjoying that fair. There was lots of activities. Does the community take care of the building pretty well?
They do. The upkeep on that is just phenomenal.
To me, they used to roller skate in there.
I'm sorry.
They used to roller skate in there. Do they still do that?
Yes.
Al, I don't know how long you've been not out there, but they tore down the garage and they build a little new building. Is that what they did? The Yesterday House is now there and restored there. That was
Okay,
African
so it's
Parents.
still going.
Yeah, and the township owns the buildings.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Julie.
And then the Spirit Fair Committee kind of helps on cleaning up and doing the upkeep right in front of the fair and stuff. Thanks, Doug, because I didn't know the history of the buildings out there. All right.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Wendy, if you want to.
Hello. So getting back to some of the summer stuff that we were doing, I was doing the Strong Bodies in Brantwood. That was a new class that we had started down there. It was a great group down there. It was at the senior meal site, but we also had other people that didn't eat at the senior meal site coming and doing the class. And we were happy that I wasn't really happy because I really enjoyed doing it and I really enjoyed the people, but the goal was to try to get somebody else to take over the class from down there. And we did have somebody step up and they were trained. Cheyenne had some money in her budget, in her Strong Bodies budget, to train two people down there that can share the educating or the, instructing of the Strong Bodies. So that continues. So that is two people from the area, and they'll kind of share that. And if they need, we can step in when we can, if they need substitutes or whatever. And hopefully we'll continue with education down there because we're going to try to get a Tai Chi class going to complement that Strong Bodies down there because the people were interested. So that will be coming. I'm currently doing the Park Falls Strong Bodies at the Charles Hill Villa. We have limited space there. It's the senior housing there, and some of the people there really enjoy not having to go out, especially in winter. So that's been really nice there. Although we do have other people from the community coming in, and we could have probably more, but the space is limited, and that's okay. It's kind of a nice group there too, and they kind of like the smaller group. And we also do nutrition education with our Strong Bodies. The FoodWise program does. So, and Jody, who's been great with our partnership with the Growing Together Garden at the school, she's pretty much, Jody Podmalik is pretty much in charge of that garden and has donated this summer. I should have brought the amounts, but she reported back to me how much they grew and how much was donated to the food pantry, and it was quite a bit. And it's a beautiful garden. If you've not been back there, it's by the ball fields back at the school, and it's really a nice garden. And she had some of the youth involved with picking, some of the baseball youth, I believe. And so that is kind of, Jody maintains it, but a lot of it is perennial fruit. So a lot of vegetables and that get donated from other gardens to the pantry, but it's kind of unique that it's mainly a fruit garden, which is kind of cool. And the apple trees have been in there now for a few years, so they're really starting to produce, where the first years, there wasn't a lot, but now it's really looking good. I'm also collaborating with JoJo from the health department on, we've been working together with some of our coalition activities and trying to, since we have some of the same goals with, healthy living goals for our community, we have some upcoming programming that we're going to work on together. She has gotten some they're called little bento boxes. They're like, kids in the lunchroom bring a lot of Lunchables, which maybe aren't the healthiest choice. And maybe they're kind of, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Lunchables. They have the little compartments and kind of expensive, and kids love them because they're those little compartments. And so she had gotten a bunch of those to give out like at Halloween. If people do this survey that she has done for our coalition to get some information, they'll get this bento box, and we're going to work together on getting some ideas together, what kids can put in there for lunches, and trying to make it kind of a fun thing where they can take something healthy but fun for lunch too, and some other ideas we have working on. I also worked with it was a collaboration between the YMCA and the Schwamigan School this summer. They had their summer kids at the school. So it was actually the Y was in charge, or they were the lead organization for these youth, but it was at the school. And I usually do a little community garden plot up there. And in the spring or in the summer when I was up there, I noticed there were some other empty beds. It's for the community. Anybody can use those beds. And I noticed there were some empty ones. So I thought, that would be kind of a nice idea for getting some youth involved. So I worked with the head person that's in charge of the kids, and we secured some of those beds, and we did a summer-long gardening program with the kids. So we kind of got a late start, but it was really good. The kids were really involved. They were, at the end, we did our little potatoes in the buckets to supplement some of the gardens. And when we did our great potato dump, they were fighting over who got the potatoes, and they all wanted a potato. Where do you see kids fighting over a potato? So I've talked with, at the end, I gave them the report, of what all we did and some of the comments. And so the person that is the lead for that really wants to do that again next year. And she wants to even start earlier, which would be good because we can start some plants earlier. And she's willing to get buckets for all the kids. And she has some money for some of that programming. So that's kind of exciting because the Y is, obviously going to be expanding their programming with you know, they're building, and I'm not sure how that's all going to work, but at least we have that connection now, so we can work a little bit with the kids and getting the kids growing. I mean, it's incredible when they're growing that food. I mean, the kids that said, I hate peas, but this is really a good pea, when they were able to plant their own pea plant and eat it. So you really see that when they see that connection with the food, it's kind of fun. So, and a lot of other reporting that we had, because it's our year starts in October, so we had a lot of end of the year reporting, and Terry obviously will give her report, but she's done a lot of that. So yeah, any questions? Okay, well, thanks.
Thank you for the good work.
Thank you.
Yes, and I thank Wendy for the good work too. I'm like her biggest cheerleader, right? As the administrator supervisor for Wendy's program. And she talked about a couple of examples of how we kind of work in FoodWise with some of these larger projects. So the Growing Together garden is a really good example of how we were at the table to get that garden started. And it's successful through the years, right? And then Wendy's able to then step back a little bit and put her energy someplace else. And this year in the summer, her energy happened to be in the other garden that involved, you know, youth from the YMCA. And it was wildly successful for a beginning year in that. And I see that one only growing in terms of, you know, programming for kiddos in the summer. So it's just, and the Strong Bodies in the Brantwood area. That is how we do need to work, right? Is we like to work together with communities to get some, you know, ideas together, put some energy behind it with other partners, do some good programming, some good projects, and then, you know, we know it's successful if we can step back a little bit and we build some sustainability, right, into those programs. So those are just a couple of really good examples of what Wendy's been doing, you know, through the years. So I'm just here to support her to do that. And she mentioned that we just wrapped up our fiscal year, which was September 30th, which requires a whole lot of reporting that Wendy does not love. None of our educators love that. It's a system that's cumbersome and it's necessary because it helps us to tell our stories a little bit statewide, right? So that, you know, our funders can see what we're doing, our partners, we can report out to our partners and they can, you know, have some data and some numbers and some success stories as well. So through the year, we try and be super committed to reporting into that system, but it's always a little bit of a scramble towards the end of the year to get it all in and get it done. So we've wrapped that up successfully. Wendy's done a really good job this year with her reporting. We've wrapped up the year fiscally, and it's a big start to a new year for us as well. So my role in kind of getting us started with this new year is to make sure that we connect with the new principals or the administrators or the teachers within the school, because generally the start of this fiscal year is all about direct programming, you know, in the schools. And so we have to make sure that we're good to go. We're ready to start. And that means some formal agreement letters with our partners to say, this is what we promised to do. Are you good with this? And so when we have new folks, new principals, you know, we need to make sure that they understand who we are, what we do, and are in agreement with, you know, what we can bring to the schools as well. So yeah, that's really about all I have for you today. Any questions for me? Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Looks like we're down to Reality Day Fair.
Mr. Chair, Extension statewide
Oh,
horticulture.
what am I? Oh, I'm sorry. I
Number
missed it.
27,
Extension
yeah.
Statewide Horticulture Specialist.
Right. So, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I received a call from our Extension statewide horticulture director. And she mentioned that she was basically hiring a new specialist, a horticulture state specialist. And the person is from Price County. He's been with Extension doing some horticulture work previously, and he's worked out of his home primarily. But now the position's changing a little bit. He would still like to work out of his house for the most part, but he's also interested in working out of an extension office. So I was asked by the state director if Price County would be willing to provide some space, probably a couple times a week, 2 days a week, starting December 1st. And that's all Price County would have to provide, his equipment, his state equipment, supported by state IT and things like that. So I mentioned this to Nick in an email. He seemed supportive of it.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
can make space or
Yeah.
make
There's a lot of room up there, isn't there?
not a lot of room, but there's room that we can work with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we're flush with space, but for this, I think we can make it work.
Yeah, we have an old 4-H office, which occasionally an emergency management person part-time uses, but not recently, I don't think. I could be wrong about that.
Roxanne's up there, and now Megan's up there, and then the remaining space. It's not a part-time. It's the state, not the state, the regional emergency managed HERC or something.
Okay.
They use a space and rent from us. Yeah.
Okay. And we have a large common area with a desk as well. We could look into providing cubicle space. I think we have cubicle walls as well in order to do something like that. The person's name, by the way, is Bruce Spangenberg. And another benefit Price County would derive from this is that he would be in the office. We would list him as staff, not necessarily advertise that he's here, but people would know that he's here. So Price residents could come in and ask him questions or certainly call or email him. But again, he serves the entire state or will be serving the entire state. But certainly a benefit for Price County to have a Hort person based here on a limited basis. So I just wanted to run this by the committee to see what your thoughts are, whether you had any reservations about this.
Any comments from the committee? Michelle?
Are you going to
Why
work?
you gotta pick on me?
Well, I want to
Are you
make
going to
sure.
work out a lease with them or what? How's that going to work?
Oh yeah, big money.
Yeah,
Big
what,
revenues for the
couple
year.
grand a month? Or?
Yeah, at least.
That's the first I've heard of this, but
You heard it from the committee. I don't know.
Happy retirement.
thank you.
No, it would just, it's space available and
Looks like you got positive feedback from the committee. Art.
I think
Yeah.
so. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right, that's what
All
you're
right.
looking for, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, you got it.
thank you.
How are we gonna meet Bruce? Just go up there and meet him?
Well, you could do that after December 1st. He's starting. I don't know what his specific schedule will be. I don't know which days he'll be spending.
Who would know his schedule?
Possibly the state director would know at this time. But maybe that's not been determined yet, so I don't know for sure.
Maybe we can find some way to put him to real hard work.
Yeah, right. Well, again, he's serving the entire state, so I think he'll be pretty busy.
Well, we're the epicenter, so.
Yeah, that's right.
if I cross paths with him, I can always invite him to a future meeting just so we know his
Absolutely,
face.
yeah.
It's a state resource, but they're
Let's find
located
out how we
here.
can
Yeah.
contribute, to Price County.
Right. And I'll certainly mention when he starts, I'll still be here. I'll mention to him that, come to a committee meeting, introduce yourself. I'm sure that the
Yeah.
committee would like to meet you.
Do you know what part of the county he lives in?
Park Falls.
Oh, he is in Park Falls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, Bob, that means you should know him.
What'd she say?
You should know him then.
You should know him.
I should, but I don't.
I've not heard that last name before.
All right, thank you.
All right. Rachel.
All right, so since we last met, I was able to get a bunch of materials, so that was super helpful. So we're just in the process of reviewing those Reality Day materials, determining what's going to work within the school, and just continuing some of those plans. So,
Do you have any idea who's gonna lead that effort, like make phone calls and get volunteers all organized?
it would be members of our high school team, likely going to be voluntold, our high school principal,
There's a lot of work involved. in
right,
getting
and our school counselor. And our school counselor is brand new to that position this year, so I wanted to let her get through those first 6 weeks of school. And then we can work with her and we can start developing some of those things. And then we have a team that we can reach out to within the school that can help assist. So,
Good.
Yep.
Glad it's moving forward.
Yep.
I think I just saw DC Everest or somebody just had one.
yeah.
Weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yep. There is a significant amount of planning that goes into it and reaching out to those resources. So that's why we're looking at a springtime
That's
event.
good.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
there were a number of volunteers up in that Park Falls area that were part of this, so
Okay.
make sure you,
Sounds good.
reach out a little bit.
And again, we can go through the 4-H network to see if any 4-H volunteers
Yeah.
might be interested in helping as well.
Is it just gonna be mostly for the Phillips kids, or are we like trying to encompass county-wide?
Typically, it's all three school systems.
Yeah, it depends on what grade levels we're going to target. So in my previous experience with this, we targeted 10th graders. So they had some time to start thinking about it. Now that there is that personal finance requirement for graduation, we do have, assurance that our incoming freshmen will be guaranteed to have a personal finance class. That was something that was optional, not required in the past. And so that's why we tried to get the sophomores so they could start thinking about, this is how money works. This is what things cost. And then there were some senior classes that hit on some of those same skills. And so, it just depends on what grade level and how many students are in each of those grades in the different school districts in the county.
I just had an observation on that, it's how money works in budgets and all that. And just as a note, I grew up writing checks out and I took business administration in high school. So we all know how to do that. But right now, today, there's a lot of people, adults, they don't know how to do that. And I'm just wondering, it's a technology, because everybody's using their phone to use exchanges. And I'm just wondering if some of the criteria is going to be updated as far as
Yeah.
how is money transacted with other means, other ways to do it.
I mean, if you ask any kid right now, they're going to say Venmo me, PayPal me, whatever those things may be.
Yeah, I got to learn from them.
Yeah, very likely they've never seen a checkbook register in their life and they're not going to use one. So some of the materials are pretty outdated based on what students utilize right now. And a lot of them don't even really keep track. They just check their online bank account and say, oh, there's still money there. Looks great. Those kinds of things. So it's just some of that mentality with helping think about what a budget looks like, how we budget our monies for the month. And
just
it's
hope
fine
there's
if it's online, but then how do you monitor that online
I just hope
usage?
there's some thought to that,
Yep.
that topic, that it can be relevant to the day.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can work on that.
It will, but not to us.
Hmm?
It'll be relevant to the day, but not to us.
You can learn a couple things.
You know how to send money on.
We may have to
Oh,
go.
yeah. All right. So it's moving forward, and anything else that you wanted to comment, Rachel?
Not at this time.
No? Okay,
Sounds
thank you
good.
very much. Okay, Area Extension Director position.
So late yesterday, I was contacted to join a meeting late today about the position. Right now, no decision has been made as to how it's going to be filled. I'm hoping I will find something out late today about that. I think that, there's been a lot of discussion about, when area director positions come up, how should we, look at them? Should we consider, breaking up the geography or filling it as is? Those are debates that are currently going on. I think some other things in the state are, they're factors in the decision-making process. But as soon as I find out, within a couple days, I'm going to email the committee members for all my committees, and of course the administrators, to let them know what's happening, and obviously staff as well, because I know they're very curious about this. So hopefully I'll find out something later today, and either Friday or early next week, I'll be able to send an email letting everybody know what's
Please
going
do
on.
that. Any updates, Art?
No, other than related to that to the previous item, I could mention that you'll always have area extension director coverage. It may come from the assistant dean for a while. It could come from an interim if they decide to refill the position, meaning post it and go through the process of interviewing. So an interim could be appointed. Or again, they may decide to split up the geography, but you always have that area director coverage, even in my absence. And if it takes a while to, let's say they post it, it takes till February, let's say, to get somebody in here, you'll still have somebody to go to with your questions.
Well, it seems that the UW system is in a state of flux.
Always
there's-
is.
There's
Always.
2-year campuses that are closing, and
Mhm.
there's financial problems, and I don't know about the student enrollment is with the whole system. It seems to be stable, but there's different campuses that are not going to be there.
Right, many of the 2-year campuses, enrollment has been down the last several years. And that's one of the reasons why a few of those branches have been closed throughout the state. So there's obviously a lot of discussion about how do we increase enrollment, particularly on those campuses that are still open.
Well,
A lot of things being discussed.
Yeah, I
related
just
to-
thought that, that's definitely going to have a issue with your budgets. It's gotta.
Sure, we'll see what the next biennial budget for the state brings as well. That's being planned now, so.
Okay, thank
Um,
you. Any questions for Art?
I have
Yeah.
one, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, finish it, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that we'll be bringing the contract to the November 21st meeting, the university county contract. You're going to ask about that, okay? As far as I know, it's not going to be changed for this year. At least that's the message that I'm getting. But you might have a different idea.
I think we're still discussing. Yeah.
But I will bring a contract. And the other piece of it is, just wanted to mention, we also have something called a Declaration of Authority, which was signed, I think, back in 2020 for Price County as well as my other counties. It basically allows the area director to act as pretty much a department head in Price County. So related to, for example, signing travel vouchers, regular vouchers, and forwarding those to finance, things of that nature. So I'll talk more about that on the 21st. We already have one in place, and it's tied to me specifically in the position. The one that's going to be presented is just tied to the position itself. So it's not to a particular person. But again, we'll talk about that on the 21st, and we'll find out what happens in subsequent meetings.
Yeah, I know they were meeting right after our conference. I have not been updated on finalizing. We know it's not going to be perfect going into next year with everybody agreeing, but there may be some updates and changes. I think this will be a multi-year transition. So
Right. I think they're, and correct me if I'm wrong, focusing more on the MOU.
true, yeah. And the question that's still coming up. So what Art's referring to is there's two documents that we based our partnership on, the MOU and the contract. We've been working on the MOU with very little work done on the contract, couple little things that you probably wouldn't even notice. Part of our last conversation was, do we need two documents and should this just be one contract? So that may be the multi-year move, but yeah, you're right. The contract there was very little changes. The MOU is the bigger outline of what's going on. Yeah.
Right.
So we should wait till the next meeting, basically. Find out.
Yeah.
Settled.
Yeah.
November 21st.
I do have the draft contract. I don't know if it'd be appropriate to pass it out today, so you can take a look at it prior to the next meeting. It'll be in the packet for November 21st as well. It's up to the committee. I have copies of it with me, but that's up to you. The only other thing I wanted to say is that we do have one position that's open in the area. That's the Langley County 4-H position, and it just posted today, actually. So that's news for Julie as well. So it is out there, and we'll be trying to hire that position. And Julie is on the search and screen committee for
She's
for
not
that.
interested.
No, she's not.
No, she's not interested at all. Oh, no, she's not. No. Not to put you on the spot here. No, she's not interested. And I think that's it for my comments.
Okay, let's see. Financial reports, I don't know if I've seen them. Are they in the packet somewhere?
They should, yes, they are in the packet.
Any questions on it?
No, mine were.
You have any, you're the only one to see them.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
here.
Okay, all right.
Mhm.
I think we can pass.
Right, well, with nothing else, we'll call this meeting adjourned at 10:44.